get zoomed in on that as much as possible.
Oh, you're live.
No more of that potty mouth.
Okay.
Can you hear me? You can't sit up here unless you've had some ice cream. So please go back and help yourself. If you want to have some more, have some more. I'm going to begin, and you can talk where you need to be. Just talk a little softer. We have just a few announcements, and the one thing I want you to do is always look on the website. Everything I'm going to tell you quickly is on the website, so there's no reason for me to keep going over it. We do have a few things coming up this week. If you're interested in entering the fall show, the deadline is this coming Sunday at 8 p.m. Tomorrow, the next day the fair opens, so if you have some things in the fair or you want to go see the art out at the fair, it's a good place to go. On Thursday, we have the opening for the signature two-star show, and that's out at the Cultural Center out in West Valley. If you haven't been there, it's really a great venue. The sad part is it's really not on the beaten path, so it doesn't get a lot of traffic, but it's a good place to be. Our formal workshop's coming up. And I understand there haven't been a lot of people sign up for it yet. Frank Francis, is that how you say it? Yes, Francis is our presenter. You want to say something? And Stephanie has taken a workshop from him, and she would like to talk about it and tell you how cool he is.
So I was a little surprised to learn his class wasn't full, because I know I was the first person to sign up for it, because I was thrilled that he was coming. I took a class from him about 10 years ago in Bend, Oregon. And I'm telling you, he's a great instructor. He's a lot of fun. But things I keep going back to things I learned from him. And that's why I think I really was excited to go back and take it from him again. What he really structured us on is we always did a value study of our landscape or cityscape before we started painting it. And sometimes he'd make it do us 3 different ways. And by the time you had that value study done, and you understood that rhythm that he wanted in that painting, they all turned out really good. And I think you guys would love it. And if you have the time to come, it really is a great class. And he's an excellent instructor. He's easy to listen to, and he's a lot of fun. And he would never dare critique us like that Alvarado Pacific guy.
You want to go for a sec? I noticed we have some few little demonstrators, and Tom is responsible for bringing that gentleman to us.
Dan LaRue is from Las Vegas, and Dan is here showing a unique device that he's put together called, again, Dan, what's the name?
Artistic Media Stretcher.
Artistic Media Stretcher. And I've seen it work. He's been to my home. I have a couple of those types of stretchers, and I've used them. They work. They work for what they're intended to do. They stretch paper in a unique way, and they can keep it stretched. Once you have, even after you have wetted the paper, you can even stretch it in the process of making your watercolor, and you can get a very unique, finished, flat surface that almost doesn't feel like a watercolor. But it's really cool, and does a great job. I think it really behoove you to take an interest in what he's showing you here tonight, and hopefully you can find use for it in your own work. Go back and talk to Dan. He'll talk with you all about it, and what the future might hold for the possibility of sitting down with a group or folks or individuals and showing them one-on-one or in a group how it works. And boy, I'm repeating myself. Okay, bye.
Kind of anticlimactic.
It was. Okay, we do have some business. You might have seen, I don't know if we blasted it or not, but Emily Thomas, we voted her in as vice president last spring, and she's had some personal issues that she needs to step down because of. And so in lieu of that, Roxanne Pfister has graciously stepped up and agreed to be vice president. So, what? So we have to vote her in. There's someone who would like to, I nominate her, see I don't know how to do any of this. I nominate Roxanne Pfister as vice president.
I second it.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Roxanne, will you stand? So we can give you a little applause. She already has a big job. She's doing the signature 2-star show also. So when it comes to show time and things like that, we really could use help from you as a group. Please email any of us, me, say I'm sure I'll be happy to help. You don't have to commit to being on the board, but you could pass out a flyer or sell lollipops or something that we need done. Okay, I think that's all, if I haven't forgotten anything. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Here's Brenda Brunello from Cache Valley.
Hi, everybody. This is just a reminder that there are 2 groups of watercolor painters in the state of Utah. Cache Valley is a chapter, for those of you who don't know, of the Utah Watercolor Society. We're up in Logan area in general. We've got about 40 members. And our first meeting, so our meetings always are the Tuesday following your meetings down here. General format's about the same. Our first presenter for next week, next Tuesday, September 10th, is Stacy Phillips. She is a rep for Golden Open Acrylics. If you're interested in her workshop, we are actually going to do a mid-week workshop next week. It is on September 11th. You can contact me afterwards and I can give you the information. You can go to the website, our UWS standard UWS website, and the information for that workshop is there. And you can register with Deanne Home for that. So again, if anybody's interested, just get a hold of me and I can give you her phone number, or you can go to the website. The cost for it is $40 for the workshop fee. There is a $50 material fee for this particular workshop, because you're going to get an 8x10 gel plate, which retail for around $30 by themselves. All the golden paints are going to be supplied. The 100% cotton Stonehenge paper is going to be supplied. Japanese paper is going to be supplied. And she's going to bring all the brayers and everything else. It ought to be a really fun workshop. It's on jelly plates. So if you're interested in expressive art, this would be a really good workshop for you at a really reasonable price. She's a fun lady. Thank you.
Okay, so Stephen Henry. Not quite sure what to say about this guy. I've known him for a couple of years now. As you can see, he obviously likes horses. He's a phenomenal watercolor artist. He also paints in oils, and he likes to experiment with a lot of different media. He's gotten to be a good friend. He teaches up in the Ogden area. High school, right? Yeah, high school. And along with his love of horses, he has also a love of dogs. One in particular, a little Chihuahua named Nacho.
Yeah.
And they do this nightly ritual. Do you really want me to go there?
Anybody know any
Stacy
divorce
told me
attorneys?
about this.
Robert's right. Just prove me right.
And you ain't about to show that, are you?
No, I don't have a video.
No.
Oh, good, okay, all right. I'll take that back.
I've seen a lot of really phenomenal paintings come out of this guy. One of them was right there, and I actually watched that one being created, one with the yellow ribbon on it. Hopefully we'll see some of that technique tonight. He also did another one that really sticks out in my mind of Upper Provo Falls in the Uintas. And I've got a lot of fond memories of that because the last time I saw Upper Provo Falls, it was from the cockpit of a whitewater kayak when the falls were running at 1,700 cubic feet per second. And it's a fun little drop, but not one that you want to do upside down. So looking at his painting of it, not as much water in it, but it's absolutely beautiful. And maybe you have a picture of it somewhere.
You know, I don't, Stopper actually owns that.
Oh, does he?
Steve Stopper.
Okay, Steve.
It's my entrance, as you come into my home, I get to see it every
Okay,
morning.
yeah. Go visit Mr. Stauffer and go see that painting. Anyway, Stephen Henry. Thank you, man. Thank you.
I kind of started this watercolor thing about a year and a half ago, and up to that point, I'd only done little watercolor sketches in this kind of stuff. Never really seriously started watercolor, but I took a workshop from Cindy Barron, and not a workshop, a demonstration, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But if you hit the next slide there. About 8 months ago, I think I joined UWS. And I was looking through the website and, deciding whether I wanted to join or not. And I saw work by Beth Sam. Where's Beth Sam? Is she here? Yeah. And your work is incredible. I love your work. Beautiful work, the things she does with color, the way, just the harmonies. Wow, of all the people that I saw that, man, I love this lady's work especially, And anyway, so I started coming to the meetings, and there's a little journaling class, thing before, okay? And I hadn't really met Beth Ann yet, so I came to it, And she put up these flowers and you know, and I started painting. I had my little paints. I was just getting after it. And pretty soon Bess Ann came around and she goes, this is the first word she ever said. I don't remember this, Bess Ann. You said, stop dabbing. So the reason I'm telling you that is you folks that are like what I consider real watercolorists, you know, you're probably going to cringe at some of the things I do tonight. That's a disclosure, okay? So anyway, I'm saying I really don't know what I'm doing about a lot of these things. So there you go. So Cindy Barron, that's this lady on the right. Y'all know that guy standing with her, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. She can look at one of her watercolors. Isn't that incredible? But she did a demonstration of her this technique I'm going to show you tonight, or one of the techniques. So that was about a year and a half ago, and that's what kind of spurred me up to get into watercolors. So I started doing smaller ones on trips to Zion with Steve back there, which is kind of blasted. No, that's okay. My first efforts were this masking technique, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Like they were 9x12s, and I kind of added my own thing to it. I started using Sharpies, and I started, you know, really exaggerating edges and breaking fields apart. And okay, that kind of worked. So go ahead. And I started pushing that, exploring that. And this is, I think, one of my nicer first pieces here. Great White Throne, any of y'all familiar with that? Beautiful, incredible place. But I kind of started developing a relationship with these rocks. And I think I know why. I'm going to tell you about that later. But I started feeling like it came natural to me to do it. Driggs, Idaho, one of a very special place to me too. I tried some of those aspen trees, again, pushing and pulling with this technique. Okay. And this turned out to be another successful piece for me. This is, as most of you should know, Mount Timpanogos. Sold that piece pretty quick 2 years ago at Midway. This is a studio piece. Okay. And up till now, I wasn't comfortable enough to do watercolor in plein air, especially competitively. But then I went to Montrose, Colorado, I think is the first place that I tried it competitively. It's definitely a leap. Everybody says watercolor is so unforgiving, you know, and I've had that in my mind. I've since learned that that's not the case. Watercolor will forgive a lot. You have to get rough with it sometimes, but it will change its mind for you. But it's more forgiving than folks think. So, but you know, we all deal with that fear of failure. So I take it back. Brigham City. This is my first plein air watercolor competition, and this piece sold. Go to the next one. This piece, Josh Clare gave it an honorable mention. By the way, that's my name from now on is HM because. I get honorable mentions quite a bit. So. But hey, a lot of people don't even get that. Yeah. And this is my first at Midway. Midway is where the varsity shows up. So this is one of my first efforts. And this was pretty big. So that was a fun piece to do.
How big?
It was a full sheet. This was a full sheet too. My buddy Steve back there, we were side by side painting that. He did a little oil piece, I did this full sheet watercolor. And this is what I call my Bonehead of the Year award. I did this piece during Midway, and in Midway you have to be selective of what you put in. And I had about a dozen people. I didn't put this one in the competition. And I had about a dozen people say, "You don't," you know. But I mean, competitive. We all do that at times, right? We second guess ourselves on things. So, all right. Montrose, Colorado. Okay. Anybody ever been there before? Beautiful place. It's the Black Canyon of the Gunnison River. So go ahead. Quick bear story. I was painting along with Nacho by my side. country. He was right here. Painting, looking at this view, like the river ran around in front of me like that. And no kidding about, it wasn't 20 yards. I kind of looked over, here comes Mama Bear. Coming down here, her two cubs. And the first thing I think is I gotta grab Nacho, because Nacho's probably gonna think they need a whipping, you know. But I grabbed him up, and then the second thing, oh, my camera's something. You know, and I finally get it out, got to take the lens cap off, and by that time, I got a nice picture of their butts. If they did, they were swimming around. Anyway, go ahead. Next slide. Okay, there's a couple more from the Gunnison. Driggs, one of my favorite places. That's extreme painting at 10,000 feet. Fox Creek and Teton River. I love doing water, and I have this weird thing that when I do water, plein air, I have to film a reservoir up from whatever it is I'm painting. I know that's weird. Like, you know, I have to dip it in the creek or the lake or whatever I'm doing. Okay, some studio pieces. I got into this tree thing. I'm still not done with it. I'm really going to push that. Of course, I love growing up in Texas. I love cows and horses. These guys actually live in Colorado. Glacier National Park, another beautiful place. Grand Teton National Park, same place. Oh, go back to those two pieces. Those I got a lot of mileage out of. I actually sold 2 of each of those watercolors because you know I did demos on them too. And then a couple of oils, I sold those very same images. So don't give up on an image. You know, when it's successful, maybe you should do it again and push it another way. Anyway, go ahead. This is kind of fun. This is kind of fun. There's actually metal leaf in these pieces. It's kind of hard to see, but there's gold leaf and silver leaf on the left one, and silver leaf on the right one. Go ahead. Oh, Watercolor Society, okay? These aren't my latest efforts. I added some slides to this. But this piece over there, the piece that was my cover slide of the paint horse, and one more, I think is, go ahead. That's Snow Kisses. Next. Yeah, Spirit de Libre, and one more. My first ever show I submitted to, all 3 of them got in. And I was told that's, you know, it's pretty cool. So, yeah, I was really honored. Guys, I'm humble, by the way. Really, I'm humble because there's great painters here, and the fact you asked me to do a demo is just incredible. Value studies, you talked about value studies. Almost every time I start with a value, not all the time, like I should, but I almost always start with a value study. Okay, go ahead. Good Springs, Nevada. I got to tell you a story about Good Springs. Sorry. It's south of Vegas. They invited me to do a plein air event there. But this is a place, there's a little bar there. It's in the middle of nowhere in Town. But the bar is basically it, in a couple houses. But people come from all over. But it's where Clark Gable tried to drink himself to death when Carol Lombard died in a plane crash. And I painted the mountain behind there is where she died. So anyway, go ahead. That lives in Vegas now. One of the county commissioners had this. Okay, South Jordan. This is the first event I did as a paint out. Went to South Jordan with the Watercolor Society and messed around and won a ribbon there. That was fun.
You whooped me like a stepchild.
Okay, now, Torrey. Torrey was a special place for me. Torrey's where things kind of started connecting for me. Okay, and I think I know why. But this is my first painting of Torrey. Go ahead. A couple more. That's a tinier one. That's an 8x10. That's a half sheet. Okay. This one actually won the best of show there. This is one of those. I'm going to sound full of myself, but this was like a magical. Do you ever have those paintings? I mean, we all have them where everything goes wrong. But you ever have one where everything just falls in? God blessed me with this one because it just worked for me. Everything just fell into place. Okay, go Where in the world plein air? I love the Rocks so much. I did my piece there. Okay. WPAP, that's the Midway. Again, that's from this year. Okay, that's a sunset scene from sunrise scene, Timpanogos. Go ahead. Not to be a name dropper, but this is one of the nicest dudes in the world, and I don't know, he's like a Babe Ruth in the watercolors around him. And you know, he gave me some kudos. I really appreciated that. And when you get encouragement from people like that, it really helps. You know? So. Oh yeah, look. How about that? Here, let me see. Sunday. As far as you know, I've got a couple more than. Okay. I went up to Sundance, did a plein air during the Midway plein air. Go ahead. Okay. Now back to stop for just a second. Okay. One of my prized possessions I got at Torrey was. Sorry, am I getting some playing there? Doug Snow. I got a book of Doug Snow's work, and I never heard of it before. You know, I know that's pathetic, isn't it? But I just fell in love with it because I'm kind of pushing, trying to get past, you know, the real, you know, everybody's got a phone you can carry around and take a realistic picture. And I'm trying to push myself to create something a little more abstracted, okay? And I started reading through this, and especially his later work, where he painted the coxcomb. He lives right there in Torrey. Lived right there. But just some incredible paintings where the horizon line. That is what he emphasized. That was the point.
Wait, can you turn it this way a little bit too?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. You know, there's some exceptions, but I mean, he really, really pushes that horizon line. Okay. And this back cover painting, without me having to thumb through the book, maybe you can kind of see that from there. But beautiful abstractions. I thought, you know what? On this painting, it was a sunrise competition. I thought, I'm just going to go for it. I want to see if I can, and then that wound up winning an award and purchase award, so that worked. That's kind of where I want to go. Driggs, Idaho, really pushing the canyon walls there. It's kind of a different atmosphere. No, that's cool. This is a good one. This is a good example of one reason to love watercolor. I did a painting. It was an okay painting, but it was, you know, this long. And what was on the right side didn't really do anything for the painting. So I cut it down. Beautiful painting, right? It turned out really nice, you know, especially from where it came from. And so I had this one painting that I really liked, and it had this chunk, and I'm like, you know what? Oh, you know, I happen to have a 6x12 frame, so I framed them both up and put them in the show. And the chunk that I just kind of disregarded and sold before I got back to my truck. There you go. Okay, go ahead. I trudged up to the Boy Scout camp there, and between looking for bears and moose, I got that one done. That was a fun one. Okay. And that's kind of that's my last plein air event. Okay. So, thank you. Now, get back to. Oh, does that mean you want me to leave now? All right. Okay, so let's see here. Wow, you know how to drive this good. This is my lovely wife, Stacy. By the way. Okay, Cindy Barron. I saw a demonstration of hers, and that has motivated me to do things a lot like her and just try to push what I can out of the techniques she showed us. As artists, I'm going to steal your line, Steve. We like to have a toolbox, and what we want to do is we want to try out different tools and see what works for us. Some of them we keep, you know. Some of them we totally throw away. Some of them we use, you know, like Anybody ever use a hammer, a screwdriver for a hammer? You know. Okay. Sometimes we try to use it in a different way than it was intended, but we all like kind of push those limits and see what we can do. And I was going to show you several different stars I have here, and this one is the most traditional of her technique. She showed us how to do these trees with this basically a 3-color process. And me being a printmaker, okay, I'm familiar with 3-color process. But what she did, she drew out a tree, pine trees, and she used this stuff that's called PBO drawing fluid. Basically, it's a misket, but you can pass that around because, for time's sake, I went ahead and be careful. Don't turn that over because that lid isn't. When it gets this goop on it, it's not very trustworthy. Okay, but I went ahead and applied the misket because I don't want you to sit here and watch me, putting on misket. Okay, and then. You can see here I've got 3 pools of color here. I'm really going to soup them up. Yeah, Bess Ann, I hope I didn't embarrass you. I really meant what I said, buddy. Your work is incredible. Incredible. Anybody else think so? Yeah. Now, the way she would do it, she had this technique where she has these bigger mop brushes, or the what do you call them, rounds, larger rounds, and she would get them soaked with paint, and she would kind of do it like this. Here's a good round here. Oh, another thing to love watercolor about. I hope I don't offend anybody, but you don't really have to clean your brushes right away. and this may come as a surprise to some of you, but I'm kind of a slob. Yeah. I'm not as neat and clean as I look, okay?
We were in Riggs, Idaho.
Oh, boy. That didn't take long.
We was in Riggs, Idaho, and we're walking up to Steve's truck, and this guy, Steve says, well, yeah, I'm one of the painters. And he says, is this your truck? And he goes, yeah. He says, I'd probably start painting that one first. Sorry, I had to share.
That's a good one. I forgot. That's a true story.
It's a true story.
As far as they know, it's true. Okay, I'm going to start with this yellow. And here's what she would do. She would just glom it on. Okay? If you are considering my workshop in a couple weeks, she had this technique where she had it down, man. She could do this. But if you're going to take my workshop, I'm really going to be pushing and using these masking techniques. You notice I wet the paper first. By the way, Arch is 400 pounds. Okay?
400?
Yeah.
Where do
I
you
usually-
Where do you get 400 pounds?
When you go to Blick and look for 300 and the 400 is on sale. I didn't know it existed. But you know what though? It's the tooth of it is a little bit different, and like you'll see if I'm not really diligent with it and work it hard, this PBO doesn't do it with any other paper, no matter what weight it is. But on this 400, it'll leave a very, very faint stain. So, if that's something that you can't live with, okay, then this is definitely something you should consider. Okay? And she would wipe, we wipe the margins down, kind of keep it dry. Okay.
Remind me when your workshop is.
The 13th and 14th, right?
10th and 14th.
Friday the 3rd. What?
Yep.
Okay.
Friday the 13th.
Okay.
It'll,
Yeah.
right here.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Everybody sign up.
And this, and just go right into the red. Now, I'm showing you how she did it, and I have since modified it, and I don't mind touching the paper. Okay? She's, you know, as much as you could, she avoided touching the paper. And it does different things, it does have different effects. I'm not bashful.
Can you tell us which colors you are mixing together?
You know, that would be important, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Windsor yellow. All right. And this is one of the greatest discoveries in my personal realm right here. This is brown matter. Brown matter is my favorite, especially for landscapes. Earthy red. I love it. Love it, love it.
And then what's your blue?
And the blue, I'm using French ultramarine. Now, in my palette, the rest of my palette, two colors, I mentioned this earlier to somebody. I won't leave home without quinacridone orange and quinacridone gold. Anybody use those? Yeah, I love them, love them, love them. And that's another thing I'll do. I'll modify that a little bit. Soak up this extra. And I might go in and kind of violate my own rule here. I might put some quinacridone gold in here. Just for giggles. Now I'll go ahead and move over to my blue. It's just a simple 3-color process. The tree over there with the ribbon on it, made the same way. And then push it. Ultramarine blue. Ultramarine, yeah.
So what did you use to spread the PBO on the paper before you start painting?
Just crummy old brushes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
You know, when I first started, I was like all worried about, you know, trying to keep my brush clean, and actually I like fouling them better because it turns into, instead of a brush, it's more like a stylus, you know, and you can do some really cool things with it then. Okay, now I'm going to stop touching it so much because I really want to push the dark values in here. Quit dabbing? She meant dabbing with the
I
towel.
know you wanted to say that, I just said it. She's over here doing the dance back here.
She meant dabbing like this.
Oh, I see.
Don't do that. You know what I love about watercolor is letting it do the work for you. Because if you just, you know, if you let the medium take over, it'll do some awesome things for you. It's not really for control freaks in it as much as people want to believe. And then you got, I'm kind of, I don't want to say intimidated, but I am aware of some of these varsity painters out here. We got names like Kara Cooley, Tom Howard.
What's that?
So, I said I'm aware of these varsity painters we have out here. And I'm about 1 or 2 notches above intimidated. Not intimidated, but
No, you kicked me off varsity, came on JV now.
that's not true. That's not true. Hey, it was good to see Brian Thane get recognized. That was awesome.
That was good.
Down, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to let that bake in its own natural juices for a while. I'm going to wipe this excess off. reason I like the heavier paper is because I like to, in the later stages of these things, I like to get sculptural with it. I like to really get in and cut things away and push and pull and add again and just, have a good time with it. And see if it's just cost me a few paintings, but hey, that's all part of the learning process, right? But,
You have about an hour left.
an hour left? Okay. All right. I don't think I'll see one through for you, but I'll give you an idea of what it is, okay? So, there, base this on natural juices. Anybody want to have some fun here on the front row? Okay. What do I got in mind? You like to party, Gunter? Here's how I party. I dry paint. Thank you. Was that too loud? Can y'all hear over that? Okay, so,
Does this gum lose its flavor when you chew it a lot?
it does.
All right, then.
Would you stick it on the bed bugs?
That blue bubble gum.
Okay, now, if I was in the field, okay, I wouldn't spend so much time, putting all that I'm asking on. I keep it to a minimum, just where I need it. Paint plein air, okay? That's an example about how far I would go, okay? And I've got one started similar to that. First, I'll show you the image I'm working on. Y'all can see that. Okay. That's in Tory. Okay. And I've got to start on that, and I'll show that one to you now. I'll work on it for a minute. So, reading the Doug Snow book, one of the things that Doug was really big on was not only finding, your art, but where your art comes from as far as place where you're at, your surroundings. And that's why he spent his last years right there at Copstone, And I got to thinking why, the reason I respond so well to these red rocks is where I grew up, West Texas, in God-forsaken, this almost desert area, and arroyos and canyons and just arid and semi-arid places. And I think that's why I respond so well to these rocks. Okay, so basically what I do when I have an area that has a lot of light values in it, and then a lot of darker values, kind of a dramatic effect, I'll go ahead and I'll paint those lighter values. And this must be from oil painting, but I actually get an underpainting on what I want to put a dark value over. And it really shines through. So I'm going to finish a little bit of that underpainting, and I'm going to start putting some of the dark values under here. Now what I'm not going to do, hopefully learning from Doug Snow, and my friend Glenn Hawkins is going to be here. I lean a lot on him too. Okay, and he is really, really good at pushing the abstract. Okay? But I'm not going to spend so much time making all these scenes. I'm just going to let it do its thing down here. Okay? So. Gunter, you're so nice, man. Thank you. That boy mocking him. So right in this area, I do want to push a little more of this yellowish color. Actually, some black and orange. Where's Beth saying this? Is that one of your paintings over there behind you? I was dabbing, I'm sorry. I actually do that quite a bit. But I am conscious of it. Now, sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes you shouldn't. See, I don't want to fight that intensely. I'll go back in. All right, I'm going to start pushing these oranges, the red oranges.
Was that 400 pounds?
This is the 400 pound, yes ma'am. And also, I like to have a little swatch here. So I can check things out, see if it's a value that I want. Any of y'all do that? Do you have a piece of watercolor paper beside you? That's a hard lesson to learn when you don't do it. Oh, I've got this color perfect. What did I do? So, as Gunther is drying that, I got a little story to tell about. I thought it would be cool if I had myself a cordless hair dryer to take with me in the field when I'm painting plein air, right? That'd be nifty, wouldn't it? Yeah. That is a great idea. So I ordered me one up on Amazon. I found one for $40. $40 for it. That one was a cheap one for this hair dryer. And I got there, and it came from Asia. Okay? Okay? Well, apparently, Asians don't use heat on their hair. So I paid $40 for a cordless fan. Yeah.
Glenn Hawkins is in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, really? Where is he? Hey, man, what's up? You're like, Henry, you telling those same stories again. All right. We're getting pretty close there, Gunther. Okay. Hang out, I'm going to. Wet this slightly. Smith and Edwards. These little bottles are like 49 cents a piece. And I've used these over and over with pigment in them. That's another Cindy Barron trick. And I've gotten some great success out of that. Let's see if I can do this without tearing out. Probably not. Have a look here, buddy.
You gotta hold it up so we can see it in real
Okay,
life.
here we are. I'm going to have him put the dryer on it
There you go.
for a minute. How's it? That shouldn't take long either. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to remove this mask here. And what you may have thought was a blob, if this turns out right, it's going to reveal itself as something a little different than that. Now, being an oil painter, I like to work, atmospherically, I like to work with what's the star of the show first, what's closest to me. And then I'll go in and like, I did the tree itself, and then I'll do the negative space. I'll put the color into that. I like to paint tree holes when I paint in oils, and I thought, you know, why mess with that when I'm doing watercolor? Let's see what I can do and kind of copy that process. So that's what I was saying, you know, I'll do things that might make you cringe as a watercolor.
You know, we have a nifty thing called the rubber cement remover.
Yes. And I have a story about that too. I was going to work up to that. Now, being the neat, organized person that I am, I usually, even though it looks like chaos, I know where most of my stuff is. I do. Okay? For some reason, I did. I had literally had a half a dozen of those about 3 months ago. That is the one thing I will, every time I take it out, I'll lose it.
The
But
bear got it,
Do you
right?
have one?
Not on me, but
Oh.
the bear got yours, yes.
I don't know who got it. I mean, something's always hidden. I ain't got nobody but myself to blame on it. This is why I have blisters on my fingers. Now, what I might do is, before I take this masking off, I might hit it a few more times with different colors, you know, build it up. I'm surprised how well watercolor layers. That's another great discovery. I mean, and then the crazy things it does when you layer it. You expect it to just make it more opaque, but it like changes the nature of it. Anybody know any good jokes while you're waiting? Come on, Stalker.
They're not appropriate.
I don't know, this watercolor crowd, they're pretty wild, man. Now, speaking of watercolor, there are some other lessons I'm learning about it. Number one, and you guys probably know this, I'm preaching to the choir, but galleries seem to balk at it. But you know, I thought about, well, maybe I should just quit messing with it. You know what? This is good for my soul. You know, and you know, I've sold my share, but you got to go with what feeds your soul too. And I still do oils. You know, I got some pretty good conditions on oils, but I love doing this watercolor. And one of the quotes in this book. Where'd it go?
Right here.
Yeah. One of the quotes in there was somebody, you know, that was writing an article about Doug in there, and he came up with this quote that your art will always find you. Okay? Just study on that for a second. And I think that's true. That's what's happened with watercolor. Your art will always find you. So did anybody else like stumble on a watercolor and found out that it suited you, or did you always want to be a water?
I stumbled on it.
Yeah.
I'm still trippy, but you know, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. See what I mean about the 400 pounds? It leaves a little bit of a stain. Okay. What I have here, as a start, I have great value mass there to work with. Okay. Okay. This would be my medium dark area to start with. So. I am so proud of my pressure plate, man. I've been showing that to my students. You know.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so proud of that. Okay, now here's some other things to do. Is that good and dry? Yeah, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll come in a second. Okay, remember how I said I used Sharpies? I've kind of evolved to these pens here. They're Tombos, they're watercolor markers, so yes, oh, there's the prism color in there. But I can use these, first of all, I can kind of manipulate edges with this. Okay. And it doesn't take much, I can, oh, that's aggravating.
It actually looks like a woodcut right now.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Come in and manipulate these areas here if I want to. There's a clear one here. I can blend, you know, these hard edges. A lot of watercolors won't use these masking techniques and fluids because of the hard edges. Okay. But what I really, really like to do, before I get into all that, this is one of my favorite things in the world to do. I like to do the lifting. I can do some really cool stuff with the lifting. You can do some really cool stuff with lifting. Okay? I got some stiffer bristle brushes. I actually kind of modified this one. I cut it into like a hoof shape. Okay, so I've got a really stiff edge here, a little more loose here, but I can like take this and work that in there. Okay. Let it dry just a second. Dab. All right, I've got a lemon there. Do you see that? Okay, if I want to be more subtle, and I want to, for instance, make some light areas in the tree, I can. Do things like that. If I want to lift with color, and leave a history of color. Throw in some yellow there. Okay, there's kind of a yellow tone to it. But I really enjoy this part of it. This is part of the process, okay?
And you do the lifting in plein air?
Mm-hmm. I do. That slide where you saw the Boy Scout camp, I don't know, do you remember that? There's a lake with all the trees and rocks and, yeah, I'll show you again later, but there's a lot of lifting in that.
Did you lift the box over now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Were they happy?
I'm the one with the dad jokes. Now I've got copyrights on. All right, and another thing I like to do with these darker value pens is this will tell you where it wants to be clumps of leaves, for instance. There's like, you can see little areas in here where if you just manipulate them a little bit and make them distinct, they become something more than what they are. Okay? How are we doing on time, Ms. Linda?
You have 45 minutes.
Oh, good grief. Like I can find this area right here. It looks like that's a clump of leaves right there. And now I can take this and really manipulate it and pop it forward. Okay. Sometimes it takes a minute to find. You gotta keep trying different things. But as you know, darker areas of values recede in space. If you can manipulate the lighter values and come forward, you got something going on there. Okay, now make a dark limb over here, darker. I would encourage you, by the way, no matter what you do as an artist, as a painter, paint plein air. Even if everything you do is totally non-objective and just totally abstract, take the time, You learn so many lessons from atmosphere and from light. Okay? It really does your soul good too. But paint plein air. Can anybody else testify to that?
Amen. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord.
Ask for a show of hands of how many people do paint plein air.
Yeah, how many of you do? It's a great experience. Get out and try it. And I promise you, if you've never done it before, I can guarantee you this. You know, if you try it enough, you're going to fall on your face and you're going to hate it and think it's the stupidest thing ever. Okay? But to me, it's like sometimes I used to play golf quite a bit, and I would think this is the dumbest game ever. But you know, once in a while, you hit that ball and it sails right where you want to. Hey, I can go pro if I wanted to. And you know, painting's the same way. Got to be careful with these pens because sometimes they are really garish sometimes and they will take over.
Is there a brand you like?
Tombow, this is what I'm using.
Is it a felted pen?
It is felt, there's kind of a brush felt tip, and on this end there's a fine point, so like I can come do my little, fine point limbs out here. Okay. I can manipulate these areas. Okay, for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and paint kind of a foreground here. Foregrounds seem to work better when they're warm. Push it. Oh, I beg your pardon. Get back there, paint. Do that? Okay. Kind of soften that edge in there. Hey, Steve, how's the registration for your plein air event here?
As of
School.
yesterday, we had 91 of the 100 signed up.
All right.
Yeah, 93 today.
93, there you go. 7 spots left.
You want to plug that a little bit? Is that okay? You tell us about that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
What we've got, it's a rendezvous.
Oh, yeah, Tom's a part of this too.
Plein air retreat. We have 20 plus on faculty, which are, collected artists from all over the country and some internationally. And we will be up in Midway next week, so it's the 9th through the 14th. And it's all about just painting, all about painting outside. We do indoor lectures, but it's a great time. We're just celebrating life, celebrating the arts, and having a good time doing it. So there's 7 spots left. Come and join us. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Now, the spray bottles.
You said Smith and Edwards, is that the army surplus up there?
Yeah, is there one in Tooele now too, or something like that?
There's one in West Jordan.
West Jordan.
I've never been to that one. I don't look like the one at the
Yeah, you got all kinds of stuff here.
Okay, so your stuff that's in your spray bottle
Yes.
Mix that from your tube stuff, or do you just use?
Yes, and yes. I use these quite a bit, liquid water concentrated. But like the red, or the brown matter that I love so much, you know, I use that. Matter of fact, I'll throw some on there now.
So are you thinning it down at all?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Throw some orange in there. Kind of make a sunset painting here. Okay, that's a little too garish, no problem. Throw some water on there. Also, what I like about this, what I've learned from doing plein air painting is something that's very important is edge quality. Edges, edges, edges. So, this serves a dual purpose. Not only am I putting the background in there, but I'm softening the edges on this tree here. If that's too much, I can come back in and add more to it later, clean it up. Let's see. Try some new stuff, yeah. And you know, that's the best place to experiment and try new things is when you're giving a demonstration. A little bit of teacher advice. You know, if you're going to screw up big, man. That's what I tell my students, man. You know, kids, I just want to let y'all know, if I'm going to get fired, it's not going to be because I hurt your feelings, you know. If I know I'm going to get fired, there's going to be helicopters and news stories. So, just so you know, that's my, you know, just letting you know.
Black clad SWAT.
That's right.
Officers.
Yeah.
Very big guns.
That's right. You know, they'll be interviewing me in prison. See, I didn't really like that purple that much. I'm just going to knock it back a little bit. Get it down. Again, it's very forgiving. All right, now let's try something crazy. Okay. I need to clean this up first. It's nasty. Starford, you have a litter of cats if you saw this palette right now.
Just looking at it.
It's breaking half.
Do you ever clean your water?
As far as you know, I do.
He ain't cleaned nothing in about 20 years, so I got the water.
Yes, actually, I do. I'm sorry. That was smart, Ellie. Yeah, I do. I do.
Do you ever
Okay.
drink it by mistake?
Or you know, I don't. Okay.
You will.
One thing I stumbled upon.
Tastes like coffee. What was that?
One of the things I kind of stumbled upon is you can get a really nice gray with phthalo blue, which I thought was pretty much useless, and with brown matter. But phthalo is kind of, you know, has that green to it, and of course the complement to green is red. So you can get a pretty sexy little gray. Yeah. Blue gray, like a cloud gray. If you ever clean your water. I'm still laughing on that.
You'll have to push your painting up again.
I will, there we go. I better wet this a little bit so it'll run for me. Put that on for a minute. I have field easel called the Day Tripper. And it's perfect for watercolor. Yeah, Josh being a day tripper. I also carry Kleenex with me because they're good dabbers. Okay, but it's perfect because you can tilt it any way you want to, you know, like I could even kitty corner if I wanted to. So you can get really expressive with this stuff, okay? So I'll set that aside, let that dry. I'm not going to call that anywhere near done. But I come back and manipulate that later. Okay, and now let's see what we can do with this big boy. Okay.
30 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, I've got basically my warm colors here, and y'all can see where I've intentionally left.
We can't see you, Steve.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, I actually masked out some areas inside of my warm areas because I want those to be kind of pristine. And I'll take it off and manipulate it later. Oh, sorry. That was just too pretty.
It's all right.
So now, I'm going to add the darks. I'll just leave it like that. I'm going to add the darks and on the mountains of silk. And you know what? I will clean this water out. I do need some clean water.
You want some I can give you some fresh water.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Here you go. No? Well, yeah, no, I do. Now I do, yeah. All right. Yeah, that's busted. Don't worry with that. All right. Okay, but go back to my photo reference.
Can you pull your foot cover?
Yes, ma'am.
Get fired.
There you go. I knew that was coming. All right. Yeah, I really want to start pushing these dark values now. And I'll start with the darkest darks.
You can call me Gunga Dean.
Thank you.
Water carrier.
There you go. Thank you. Hey, could you put a little more in here? Oh, thank you. Okay, I mixed that with that, but I like to use a flat brush quite a bit. When I'm doing these areas like this. Get this up here where I can see it. Swatch. Oh, that's just right. Just right. Wow, okay. Gallons up here. Yeah, let's see. So. I can come back in and make this a little more opaque if I need to. So I'm not going to sweat too much about it right now.
What color are you using right now?
I'm using dioxazine purple, which I usually don't use very much. Some ultramarine and a little bit of brown matter. I really want to push this dark by. There we go. Now we're sinking. And you notice I've kind of got my areas mapped out here already. Don't tell them. A pretty big area. gonna go ahead and get these larger chunks in here. That would be right. Here. Get a little phthalo and brown matter in there just to grade up a little bit. Almost too purple. But even with this really opaque color here, you can see the underpainting. Especially if you're right up here on it, you can see the red coming through there, just like you would in nature. And if I go back in later, I can do it while it's wet. There's a history of the underpainting there. Or I can go back in and while it's dried and do the lifting and I get the same effect. Same sense of effect, a little bit of different flavor. Okay, I really want to exaggerate this edge right here. How's it looking back there? It's starting to look like something? It is, isn't it? How about that? I can warm my shadow up if I want to. Hey Hawkins, how did your wedding thing go, man?
Very well.
That was interesting. Can I tell them about that? There's no secret.
No, it's over now.
It's over now.
The check's cash, so.
Clear?
Can't fire me now.
Yeah, he was asked to go do live painting at a wedding, kind of as a memorabilia for the wedding. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Let's hope it lasts for a minute, you know. They can always blame you if it doesn't, I believe.
That's right.
There's a watercolor, you just could have hosed it down. Yeah.
Okay, there's those shadows. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. This is what we're in for, right? You know, I could have just concentrated on one painting, but I literally would have been watching paint dry. I'm like, I don't want to do that. And plus, I wanted to show you a couple of different techniques in here. So,
25 minutes?
okay. I like this. Yeah. See, that's weird because usually I'm the one in my class who's like, oh my God, 25 minutes. How much can I stretch this out? So when you're here, you know, in this environment, it's kind of fun to be up here. Okay. We'll start over here. Kind of use a little bit of a dry brush technique. Get some of these effects in there. Drag the brush across there, just the weight of the brush. Isn't the desert amazing? I love it. I mean, I'm glad I don't have to live there. Oh man, those tough old timers, men and women that settle those places. I wouldn't want to be one of them, but it's just incredible. Beauty is just unmatched. What was that?
Snack
Put these
bar
cakes
still.
down.
I think that's your phone, Steve.
No.
What do you do different when you're doing water? You mentioned that.
What do I do different? I actually scoop up the, like, if I'm doing, there's the creek right there, I'll dip my, that's what I use for. It's just a weird habit I have.
I think it's easier than packing
Well, I'll dump out the water that's in my cup. That's
in water. Why not painting water?
painting water?
Yeah.
Really, it's just, it depends on, like still water is just like a total different reflection. I try to keep to that mirror image, and then soften the water side.
You don't wanna put your brush in your mouth, though.
What's that?
You don't wanna put your brush.
I don't, when
You already.
Creek water.
oh, yeah, I'm already wormy, so it doesn't matter. Is that where you're getting at? I'm like, did I already get paint on my face?
Would you rather do red rocks or green trees?
Red rocks any day, baby. But green trees next to red rocks. I'll take that too. Okay, back to my dark value here. Go over here. I'll tell you someone who does some pretty cool watercolors that's sitting here. It's Glenn over there, man. Glenn Hawkins. You enjoy doing them, don't you, Glenn?
Yeah. It's a nice sideline to the oils. It kind of teaches you new ideas for your oils, and your oils teach you new ideas for your watercolors.
You know, that's, I was gonna mention that, you're right. What I've learned from oils has taught me a lot about watercolors and vice versa. Kara, I'm sure Kara would agree with that. Wait, your pastels, I'm sorry, I meant to. The one reinforces the other, would you agree with that? Yeah, sorry, I meant to clarify. See how quick she said that?
Do you find it different to transition back and forth, Steve?
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
being in a different frame of mind?
Yeah, yes, there's no, you can't deny that, for me, because believe it or not, I'm not as smart as I look. But things like that take me a minute. What are you doing? Get this. But, yeah, you're right, that is, sometimes it's difficult, but number one, the more you do it, just like anything else, the easier it becomes. And the more beneficial it becomes. I'm gonna break that edge up there a little bit.
Can you see a scene and say, I need to paint that in oil, or I need to paint that in watercolor? I mean, do they separate themselves for you?
Yeah, I would think so. I really enjoy the horses, and especially live. You know, coming from the Dayton workshop. Yeah, I did a Charles Dayton workshop. But yeah, I'd really rather paint them in oil. I think I can get more expressive, more control over the colors, etc., and the nuances. Yeah, that's a good question, Steve. I mean, I should take both with me and let the scene tell me what I should do. That's wow.
You're gonna need a Sherpa.
I think that's called his wife.
Oh no, ma'am. I'm her Sherpa. She's the brain trust of the outfit. I'm the idiot, though. Okay, now, you notice these kind of areas right here, these deep shadow areas, they'll often have like a glow, right? Like a peach glow or something. And something I found that works for me, I get that wet and come back in with it. Crack it on orange, for instance. And if that's, oh, that's too much, I just take my brush. And on this side, I want to really push the dark shadow here. On this side, come in. Not all over it.
Looks better in person, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna like.
And what about this big boy on the steps? You gonna forgive
This
him?
one? Yeah, I'm not gonna, due to time constraints and things like that, I'm not gonna really get into that.
Okay.
You got 15, Steve.
Okay, this is perfect time. Real quick, I'm gonna show you what I'm really pushing for is the push and the pull of the warms and the cools. And I'll just bring this around. You see how it's starting to sing off of each other? And the emphasis of my painting is gonna be this hard line right here. Okay, everything else is eventually gonna go towards that. Okay. So, while that's drying, so I can take the masking off, I'll start on my sky.
Is that mask on your sky already?
Yeah, there's a mask on. I wanted to keep it light right there.
Right.
And I'm gonna blend the sky down here. So, maybe I shouldn't have done a full sheet. What, did I knock something over?
Bigger brush.
You know what's weird?
Go big or go home.
And this is no lie. I do better in watercolor working bigger. Working small just drives me nuts in watercolor. But, so let's see here.
Lord, my Lord, what could you go see big
I'm gonna mix some of that gray I had a while ago. Start with that.
That's the phthalo madder gray.
Phthalo matter, yes, ma'am. And plus with the blue violet I already had in there. There's a reason I'm not constantly clean. I learned this from Tom Howard. You don't want to totally clean your palette all the time because it actually adds to the color harmony.
Dirtier palette, better.
Yeah, stopper. Tell him, Tom.
There's
What
good
did you
stuff in
say?
the ditches.
Dirtier the palette.
The dirtier palette, the better, yeah.
I've heard make money on silver as well.
Bless you.
Are these paintings for sale? Have you talked about that?
Oh, yes, ma'am. These are for sale.
Ones on the easels?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, if you're interested in one, just let me know. And you know what, guys? I want to tell you, I appreciate this opportunity too because it's pretty therapeutic for me. I got some nonsense going on in my life right now, so some tough things we've been going through, and I'm glad I got people like y'all to reach out to and share stuff with, and I thank God for my art friends for sure. So thank you. What, is that you, Stoffer?
Yeah, I just wet myself, sorry.
That thing gets me in the eye almost every time. What are you? Really? Yeah, there you are. Basically. You ever talk to your paint?
Are those dots masked away before you,
What's that?
those little dots that were on there before, is that
That's
masked?
mask here. There's gonna be a little.
Little geese happening, or?
It's not your, matter, your,
This is black.
this is black.
This is, yeah, black.
Is it black liquid watercolor in
Yes, ma'am.
water?
In water, yes, ma'am. And you know what? I'll even put a little bit of. Yeah. Let's just get stormy. Let's go all Doug Snow here.
So what's this you're using?
This is the Blick watercolor, the liquid watercolor.
What color?
Black. It's kind of a greenish black, which kind of goes well with this storm cloud thing I'm trying to.
Oh, it's blue one.
Now, add a little bit of warm to it in places. I want to keep all my warm emphasis in one area, but I do want some suggestions of it here and there, okay? More black. There we go. Now we get it. Well, that is really black up there. It's not, there it looks like India ink. It's not quite, it's kind of a cooler black. It's not quite that garish. That's a sexy word, isn't it, garish? Okay. Oh, yeah. Yep. Now I'm going to push the bottom. Hey, you're brown matter again. I'm going to kind of do what I did at the beginning with the three-color process. Still some blue on there. I'll do it with the spray bottles.
Yeah, we go for a wood roll, yeah.
One a little bit.
Oh, I see that.
Is that out of time?
Okay,
Oh, perfect. Okay, this goes.
it's really 8.
I told you I'm the prince. Wow, that's a good one. That caught me on that one. Okay. Let's see, what should I say on this for a second? Okay, I want to kind of blend this edge right here. Not necessarily blend it, just take the, soften it a little bit. So Kara, have you seen me do something where you go, what is he doing? What's he thinking?
I like it.
I wasn't digging for a compliment, I'm just wondering if I've done something stupid yet. That was your job, not to do anything stupid. Here we go. There, that's exactly what I wanted. Now, actually, I think I got some red. Yep, I do some red from here before. angry clouds up here. I'll go the opposite way of Bob Ross. Put an angry cloud. Yeah, did y'all see Bob Ross showed up in Spring City? Did y'all see that?
He did. It was a resurrection.
Yeah. It's a happy little resurrection.
He did a hell of a painting too, by God.
Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna soften this over here. Oh. Okay. At this point right here, right here is when I would let it dry, then I start to work on it with my markers. Oh, I'd remove the masking too. I could actually, if I did want to put some of those bushes in down here, I could use some lifting techniques. And soften edges that I don't want to be so hard. Get rid of that little blue rectangle there. Okay, let me hit this with a hairdryer, and I think I can get one more step in, if y'all can tolerate me.
You're gonna lift the mask up first, right?
Yeah, go ahead and put it on high. Blast us up. Yeah. Man, that masking fluid stained this one pretty hard. I've never had to do this. Of course, during the demonstration, I've had little problems, but none like this.
Could be edits.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be nice.
It might be because of the blow dryer.
Is that it?
Yeah. When you blow dry masking, sometimes it's.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Could also be that.
Yeah.
What's that?
You're not gonna have a finger contact with us.
How are you gonna get?
Hey, Michelangelo has dinner, friends.
I actually kind of enjoy the grind. Okay, what I promise I'll do, folks, I will get this finished up, and I'll put it on, I'll send it to who's the website?
Utah Watercolor Society?
I don't know, who is,
Jennifer Love.
I could just post it on the Facebook too.
You can, but she's our communications person.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've communicated with you before, that's right.
Well, we're chit-chatting up here.
Go ahead.
We have extra ice cream, and we like to sell it, not to give it away. Maggie, did you tell me how much?
For $5.
$5 each. One is rainbow sherbet, I kind of like that, and chocolate. So, don't feel like you're outing yourself because you like ice cream, just come get it. They don't keep, it's pretty hard to transport it back. Dewey, you had one thing you wanted to say about membership.
I'm taking care of the membership records. If Jeanette Morris or Diana Peterson are in the audience, I'd like to talk to you. I have a question.
Also, we have ZAP, which is Zoo Arts in the Park, who is a grant, who provides a grant for us and lots of other organizations, arts organizations in the state. And we've applied for some money, and they have granted us $5,000 this year, which pays essentially for the rental of this facility, which we use a lot. So, plugging them and talking about them as part of our contract with them. ZAP, Zoo, Arts in the Park. Two more things. Sunday night, again, 8 o'clock. The deadline to turn in things for the fall show. And Stephen Henry's workshop, which is coming up on 13th and 14th of September. How much is it? $125 for members. $175 for non-members. 2 days, Friday and Saturday.
It's a mini workshop.
Mini workshop, and it's right here on this level, on this next level. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna just say thank you, and why don't we give them just a big hug and kiss, and thank you so much. Feel free to come up and talk to us.
Yeah, please do.
Later
Come on.
longer. Anyone want these ice creams, please come get them right now.
We'll get you
I might talk to her too.
Oh, wow.
Like, I'd rather keep it on my wall, you know. They were good.
Probably not taking.
They were good. If I had a budget,
Those are good, man.
And he's still like, well, they really like the show.
Thank you for coming around.
Has it been in like the last week then? Oh, really?
Yeah, you know what, this is my, what I was gonna say, this is yeah, I want to be like King Bro. Way to go. We need to set the bar higher. Thank you. Those markers, are those watercolor markers?